So a few days ago, myself and Andrew decided to run the 65 against his 2022 BMW M3 X-Drive. So this car makes about 500 horsepower. They're really quick cars. And I got outrun. I got my skin up. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't really happy with the way the 65 ran. I thought it put up a really good fight, but I knew there was more in it. So in this video, what we're going to be doing, changing some plugs, bumping the rev limiter up, putting some roller rockers on the car because it really needs those, and you'll find out why here soon. But before we get into today's video, let me show you the first race between us.
You gonna honk it off?
All right, now that you've seen that, let's see if all of this is for nothing. Hang around till the end of the video and I'll show you our race from today. We're out here in the shop tonight. It is a couple of nights after I got my skin up by the BMW, and we are trying to figure out some little tricks and some things that we can do to get a little bit more power. So let's look at the plugs that we got here. Pretty sooted up. All right, so let's talk about these for a second. The plugs that you see here were before we put the MSD on the car, so they were super sooted up. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's way too much gap for me. I don't run that much gap, but we just threw them in there that way. And matter of fact, they don't even look even. But so this was before the MSD, so they're gonna be a little sooted up. They did clean up pretty good. The car ran fine, but as you can see, we got a ways to go here. I think the tune-up on the carburetor is not too bad, though. Although these look pretty bad, I think that's just because they were already in the car beforehand. We will find out, though, with the new plugs. So the jetting on the car is all stock from ATM now. 74 and 83, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not stock, it's extremely close. The roller rockers that are currently on this car were on the Calypso back whenever I first built that 347. Well, this 347 in that car. From everything that I can tell, these are, and I'm about to pull the valve covers off, so we'll verify. These are Miller Engineering mid-lift 1.5 ratio. For years, I thought they were 1.55, which means the difference between 1.55 and 1.6 would be 15 thousandths. Now, 15 thousandths lift isn't a ton. That's not a lot, although it is 15 thousandths across the board. So, it's, pretty decent. It did make me consider possibly going to 1.6s. But then we started looking into it a little bit, and if I'm not mistaken, from what I'm seeing as of right now, these are 1.5. That means that it's a 30 thousandths jump between 1.5 and 1.6. The same as it is from a 1.6 to a 1.7. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I've always said 30 thousandths lift from one point to the next. So from 5 to 6, from 6 to 7, it's 30 thousandths. It may be a little different, but anyway, that's across the board. So across the whole ramp, you're going to be increasing lift everywhere. So we're going to go ahead and put the Scorpions on this car tonight. We'll let you guys hear it. We'll see what it sounds like, see if it pulls a little harder. Because these are 11R 205cc heads. They got big valves and they're 208s. This thing likes lift and it likes to flow. Berger has graced us with Trick Flow 1.6 roller rockers. And we're going to install these on the 65 because, like I told you guys before, I thought that these were a 1.55. So basically 5.5. I don't know why I thought that, but there's not a lot of information out there. I've looked. There's a couple different places. I think somebody on eBay selling some. But so Miller Engineering 1.5 rocker. So essentially like what a Chevrolet is. They always had like a 1.5 as their base. So what this allows you to do is if you have too much lift, you can come down 30 thousandths on your lift with these. Guys, I'm going to keep this super simple. This is the way I do it, and it works every single time. I'm not changing anything. I'm not spinning the engine over. This is exactly how it was, and this is how we're going to deal with it, okay? Yeah. All right, so you break it loose, take it off. Just get them out of there one at a time. All right, and that's it. You just want to pop them all off, and then we'll start back over on base. So I'll show you guys that in a minute. So we got our roller rockers on, and they are literally just all sitting up here. See how this is loose? Just go down till it just stops. All right, so everything is back in place, basically just as it was. The car is in neutral. We have no coil wire. We have none of that stuff on. What we want to do is roll this thing around the base, on the base circle, meaning not on the lobe of the cam. So I'm going to press this here. You can just jump the solenoid or get somebody in there to touch the key. You've been booting in your butt. All right. Okay, so we're on base right here. It's not on the lobe of the cam, so watch it. I'll spin it over again. See how it tries to push down? Pushes up in the back, down here. Keep spinning until it stops moving, which it did. That's base. So what you want to do now is go ahead and go down finger tight, just like that, and then go a full turn on this cam. Not every cam's the same. Not every setup's the same, but ours is a full turn. Some of you guys will do a quarter turn, some will do a half. All we're gonna do is go down the line just like that. But next you wanna go ahead and lock everything down. To do that, this is what I do to ensure that you don't have any issues, okay? You're gonna take this, so you're gonna take your little grub screw in here, tighten it up, and you're gonna give this thing one more little bump. Just any kind of bump at all. Once you get that tight, and this thing is locked down. So same thing. I'm gonna push down. It's on base right now, but I'm just gonna go ahead and spin it over again. All right, coming up on ramp. All right, we're good, we're on base. There again, finger tight. So just to show you guys it doesn't really matter, we're gonna start right here. And we're just gonna go one revolution. All the way back around, just like that. We'll catch you once everything's done. Got the roller rockers on, got the new spark plugs in. Took the chip out of the MSD box. I don't know. I assume that was affecting it. So the rev limiter should now be about 7,200. Got the air cleaner off. That's pretty much everything that we wanted to do to the car. And we're going to start it up. Probably going to hear a little bit of valve train noise to start with, but it should go away here pretty soon. Responsive.
Yeah.
It's probably the new plugs over the roller rockers, honestly, but super responsive. I was just barely touching it. So that's what we want. It's got fresh plugs in it now. It smells super rich, but the wideband's showing us about 13.8 to 14.1, so we don't really want to mess with that. We don't want to lean it out any more than that. Carburetors start to act a little funny once you do that. Especially cruising around, you'll notice. If you start messing with your mixture screws right here and you try to get this thing up to like 14.5, 14.7, somewhere in there, a lot of times it'll idle fine, but as soon as you go to drive it, it'll have a bad lean spot in it. So we're just gonna leave it like it is. And Berger sadly won't be around tomorrow, probably to go for a test drive, but We're gonna take this thing out tomorrow and hopefully it runs a little better. Either way, it's got the right roller rockers on it now. It's got a fresh set of plugs. Rev limiter is now set, and for now, for the time being, we're gonna leave this off, see if we can get some more air in this thing. I do not recommend running around without a damn air cleaner, okay? It's just not worth it. But if you're gonna go out and make a pull on the dyno or at the racetrack, it's fine to leave it off. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and take the 65 down the road just as a quick test drive and show you guys how good it's running. I finally got the carburetor adjusted out. I think it was pretty much the accelerator pump was just out of adjustment. So I got all that done. We're just gonna make a couple hits on motor, and then at some point, probably within the next couple of days, I'm gonna re-race Andrew with the car now that it's running good. We're still gonna get beat, but it should be a closer race, and I just want this car to go out there and give its all. Win, lose, or draw. It is what it is. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take this thing down the road. So I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but the cam hits a lot harder now that we got the roller rockers on it. We also got to get some heat in the engine. You never want to go out on a cold engine and beat on it, because as my buddy Ben said one time, cold parts break, and it's true. This thing drives so good, y'all. To be an old car, you know, it's a little kind of all over the place, if you will. But all in all, it has no vibrations or much to speak of, and it tracks straight. Temperature today, I think, is 60 degrees, so the car should run pretty good. Got about 135 degrees water temp, so all the parts down in the bottom of the engine should be nice and warm by now. Oil, everything else. So we're just gonna roll out, hit it in second, and we're hoping that we got rid of our hesitation. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Hell yeah. She did bobble a little bit on the hit. Car is still kind of cool. Hell yeah, that'll work. I'm not power shifting this car. I know everybody's gonna probably make fun of me because of the way I shift it, but it'll come in time. We'll start power shifting it. Awesome. Let's try third gear just to make sure no bobbles or anything like that. Alright, get her turn up and see what she'll do. Yes, sir. Alright, get her turn up and see what she'll do. Yes, sir. Now that's what I'm talking about. Whatever this car runs, if it gets outrun by Andrew's car, if everybody else in the world outruns it, this is how I wanted this car to run whenever, like, this was my vision when we first built this thing. I can't be any happier with it. It's badass. You know, what do you expect from a 347 naturally aspirated with a street cam in it? You know, these aren't the biggest heads in the world. This isn't the biggest cam. It doesn't have high compression. It's like 9.5 or 9.8 to 1. It's nothing crazy, guys. Love it. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this is nasty, and I love it. May not be the fastest thing out there, but she's nasty. And that's what I'm talking about. All right, we are back. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't think all those changes that we made were gonna make a difference, but I'll be damned, they did. So once again, we did roller rockers. We went from a 1.5 to a 1.6, which added 30 thousandths lift. We bumped the rev limiter up by, I think, 200 RPM. I think the rev limiter is at 7,200. Let's see what else. Adjusted on the carburetor, and I can't remember. I think that's basically it, but that's it. That's all it took. I knew the car was not running right the night that we raced, and I knew there was more in it. I didn't know there was that much more in it, but huge difference. I don't know how much horsepower difference that made, but it felt drastic. It felt 50, 60 horsepower difference. He outran me in that race. Guys, it's New Year's. We don't need to be out doing this, okay? We're already pushing our luck, so we decided just to come on back home. So there's no need in trying to push our luck. I mean, from what I can see, and what Andrew can see, looks like they're pretty much dead even. The 65 actually could have a little bit of an edge, but basically these cars are almost dead even. So I'm extremely happy. Officially, yeah, I lost the race. I stayed in it, missed fourth gear. It was what it was. Anyway, I just want to leave you guys with that. Super happy with the 65. This car was pretty much scrap metal whenever I first brought it back over here to the house. Now, as most of you know, this is the car that I drove in high school. But it sat at my dad's for years and years, and now it's back. And it's a good-looking car. It runs really good. I'm super proud of it. We put a lot of work into this. There's a lot of people involved in this. John's been back over recently. He moved to Texas. He was over tonight. You know, he's extremely impressed with the car. Andrew, everybody, all of us that had a hand in this thing are super excited for this car to be where it is. Come on, guys, let's think about this for a second. This is a 65 Mustang that essentially was pulled out of the weeds back in the 90s. I drove it in high school. It was a rust bucket. It sat at my dad's for 20 years. Drug it out from over there, put it all back together. And I don't even think a lot of people know what all has been done. This whole cowl, like, we replaced the whole cowl. We put our own windshield in. Whole package tray back here was completely rusted out. Fixed all that, put it all back in. The whole underside of the car has been redone. New, for the most part, a lot of patch panels, I'll say, in the floor pans, but pretty much new floor pans. The car's been mini tubbed. Everything you see, I'll show you guys some video, I'm sure, and you'll see where this car came from, but I'm just super, super excited. It's days like this, man, that make you really appreciate and love what it is that you've done. With that being said, I'm going to wrap it up, but I do want to remind you guys to do work. Get out and do things that you didn't think you could do. You're looking at a guy here from Southwest Georgia that grew up not having a whole lot of nothing. Just had a passion for cars, especially Mustangs. And I am happy in life. I'm where I want to be. I'm not a rich man, but I'm happy because I've gotten to do the things that I wanted to do. And my point in telling you guys this is anybody can do it. You guys can do it as well. You just got to set your mind to it. You know, you have to. And people say that all the time. I think it just kind of flies under the radar. Nobody really picks it up. Nobody pays attention to it. Listen to what I'm saying. If you want it bad enough, it's there to get. I enjoy where I'm at in life, and I want you guys to do the same thing. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. And as always, thanks for watching.